Court in Seattle.
We came to the courthouse today to defend the United States Constitution, to defend democracy in America, and to defend what it means to be an American citizen.
The judge, a Reagan appointee, called the executive order blatantly unconstitutional during its first hearing. Your money at this moment is mixed. The Dow is up 326 points, the S&P up 12, and the NASDAQ is down 45 points. Coming up, snow could be on the way soon. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time 101.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Febreze. So my home is also my office. And before I can focus, every room's gotta be clean. That means tidying up and spraying my Febreze Air Mist. Ooh, that's fresh. Febreze Air Mist scents are all high quality. They fight any weird funk, and they give my air an instant boost of freshness. So not only does my home smell good, I feel good too. After I Febreze, it's time to start my day.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
This is Derek Overstreet of the New Millennium Group and host of Stop Working and Start Living Radio. If you're close to or in retirement and you don't have a tax plan, call us right now, 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. Listen, our country's been spending like never before, and the tax bill is coming soon. If you need an income tax strategy and a financial plan that will get you through the rest of your life, give my team a call, 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. If you want an investment plan that allows you to keep more of your gains and pay less taxes, give us a call, 888-999-6370. My team specializes in the type of plan that will get you retired 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible. So, get a no-cost tax analysis by calling 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. My team is standing by now.
The KSL News Radio Movie Show comes to My Hearing Centers today from 10 to 1. But first, discover what My Hearing Centers can do for you. My Hearing Centers uses advanced technology to diagnose and treat hearing loss. These comprehensive evaluations determine the best treatment options. Then enjoy lifetime support with regular check-ins, cleaning, and maintenance. Call My Hearing Centers at 801-701-1629. 801-701-1629 for more details. My Hearing Centers has offices from Ogden to St. George.
Hi, Susan. We haven't seen or heard from you.
Cold.
We would like to locate Joyce.
The mysteries that made podcast history.
Cherie Warren disappeared.
Are now together for free at kslpodcasts.com.
I'm Dave Cawley, the host of Cold. Join me for Season 1, The Susan Powell Case Files. Season 2, Justice for Joyce. And Season 3, The Search for Cherie. Listen anytime for free at kslpodcasts.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by My Style Checking from Mountain America Credit Union. Here's Ricky Meese.
Looking at a live shot of sudden delays that popped up on I-215's West Belt going southbound through Taylorsville. And now they're starting to move again, but this is a slow and heavy drive. It starts after 4700 south, but you'll be right back to the posted speed limit before you get to Redwood Road. Not really sure what was causing this, but again, delays southbound on the West Belt after 4700 south in Taylorsville. Teens can get up to $200 with a Teen Learn and Earn account. Plus, continue earning rewards as they master the essentials of finance. More at cypresscu.com/teen. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
A high of 36 today with clouds, but tomorrow will be a little warmer at 41 degrees. Then come Saturday, we could see some snow as the high temperatures dip to the low 30s for the weekend. Right now it's cloudy and 34 degrees. I'm Heather Peterson from the KSL Calm and Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com, we're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Inside Sources. Inside Sources. A new presidency, new state leaders, and a new legislative session. Utah's top political experts discuss the day's biggest stories. Only on KSL News Radio. Eye on the Hill 2025. Special coverage on Inside Sources.
In 2024, several concerns were raised regarding the way elections were conducted here in the state of Utah. A legislative audit found a few areas where things could be tightened up a little bit and make elections more secure. Now that the legislature is in session, we're seeing several bills specifically addressing various parts of the electoral process. Welcome to Inside Sources, everybody. I'm your host, Adam Gardner, here with Mara Carabello from the Exoro Group, a public policy shop in town, the public policy shop in town, I will say. And I own ASG Consulting, a lobbying firm here in town. And so we're kind of in the middle of all of this stuff, but we don't make any of the decisions.
We are not. That's well said. We are following the decision makers. Adam and I are between Capitol Hill and our desks and here, so it is hard to keep up. I will say that they hit the ground running as they usually do. But Adam, this year we've got a couple of big themes. We're going to cover a few of them, but as you said in the intro, elections are a big theme this year. Let's maybe start with a couple of broad bills, and then let's hone in on a big one we're going to see a little later. But let's talk in general about some big changes. There's a lot going on about ballot measures again. We remember there was a potential amendment to the Constitution in our 2024 ballot that the Utah Supreme Court ended up taking off. The rumor is, and a couple of filed bills, both from the Democratic side and the Republican side, look like they want to take another crack at either what's required to get on the ballot. That would be how many signatures. There's a Democratic bill from Jen Daly Provo who might make it easier. There's also some bills out there that might make it really a little harder to put on a ballot measure. That's one of the things that we're watching. And then we also have some issues, Adam, about how hard it is to get on the ballot if you're gathering signatures. So 10 years ago, we passed a law that said not only you have two ways to get on the ballot. One, you can go through your caucus convention, and then we provided this alternative in signature gathering, and we allowed for candidates to get on the ballot by signature gathering. And there's some hefty numbers. If you're running for a statewide, it's 28,000. If you're running for some smaller offices, it's 1,000. We have a representative, Ray Ward, who is putting forth a bill that says let's lower those amounts and make it easier for average people to get on the ballot.
And some of those are big changes because Representative Ward is significantly lowering the threshold for ballot access. That could be a good thing. Right now, one thing, look, I had to get 2,000 signatures when I ran for the House. I didn't need them. I won in convention, but I had them just as kind of an insurance policy. I remember Mike Lee called it political malpractice if you don't get signatures.
Right.
And I agree with Senator Lee on that. And so I got 2,000 signatures.
Now, did you do that with you and your campaign team, or did you need some paid professional help?
So I had I paid for half of mine.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I had a firm go out and do half of them. But I kind of liked it because my volunteers went out and me.
Yeah.
And we got to meet a ton of people. And so it was like an early jump on campaigning.
For sure.
And it wasn't very hard. It wasn't a big commitment. You didn't have to vote. I was just asking people, hey, you're already a Republican. I know you're a Republican. I know your name. I have it on my form here. Please sign this and let me get on the ballot. That's all I'm asking for is some ballot access. And every single person I didn't have anyone reject my name, which thank goodness. Maybe it was just because they didn't want to do it to my face.
That's right. That's right.
But all of them said, "Oh, that makes sense. I would love for you. Everyone should have a chance to be on the ballot." And so I feel like people are already kind of thinking that way.
So do you think the numbers are where they should be, or do you agree we could lower them a little?
You know what? That's a really thoughtful question, and one that I haven't spent a ton of time on thinking that through. Because and that's why I love this process, because it's going to go through multiple committees.
The committees are right,
and they're going to debate it, and that's where I'm interested to see the arguments here.
For me, here's the sweet spot. Okay, so I asked Ray Ward, why did you pick the numbers you did? He said, listen, I looked around, I took a national average, and my bill shows the national averages.
Oh, that makes sense.
I was like, that makes sense, but that maybe, to your point, doesn't mean it's right for Utah. But the one, I think the sweet spot is you have to make it high enough. So, and I'm going to be colloquial here, so that nut jobs can't get on.
Yeah.
Like not serious people. It can't be so low that you don't have to be serious. But it can't be so high that you're like, I can't spend $10, $15, $20, $150,000 to get on the ballot. It's got to be somewhere in the middle. It's got to be serious people, but it also has to be regular citizens.
Well, you know what? You bring up a really good point, and it reminds me, I was running Rob Bishop's congressional campaign in 2010, and there was a guy who was a little on the less serious side, and he was a perpetual runner, ran every time.
Okay.
And he had been banned from most public buildings, from a lot of churches.
Yes.
I mean, he was just all over the place, right? And so I don't know if he was banned from churches. I made that part up, so I apologize. But what was interesting is in the caucus convention system, he could sign up. And he knew he wasn't going to win. He didn't campaign. He didn't call a delegate. He didn't want to. The only thing he wanted to do was speak at convention and yell about the process and about my candidate.
Okay.
So he had no intention of winning. He was just angry.
Yeah.
And so to your point, that really makes sense that you would want to limit that type of access to the ballot. But at the same time, I kind of get it. Like
totally.
We need to kind of fix the process a little bit here. And all we know is I've seen Senator Mike Lee post. He tweets a lot. There was an article about the amount of tweeting he does, and from time to time he talks about Utah elections, and he also talks about different issues from around the country. And one of the things he's been hammering a lot has been no one is checking your ID or anything when you register to vote. So we talk a lot on this show about like signature verification and your actual ballot, but not when you register to vote.
Right.
So he's been pushing that, kind of like banging that drum.
Okay.
And so we've been seeing a lot of red states, not just him. It's multiple people are saying these same things, but he's our senator. And so we're seeing that happen throughout the country. And it seems to me like Utah seems to be kind of moving that way.
Right. So that's such an interesting topic because it has 2 points of view in my mind. One point of view is technology has made it so that there's a chance that we could do electronic verification in a secure way, maybe online, and that's voter access. The other point of view of that is this is a topic in America that has traditionally, in some states, been used to keep people away from the ballot, and what would be perceived as voter suppression. So it always has this double edge. I mean, it's what we're talking about. Where is the sweet spot? For me, it's always as easy and as legal as possible.
Yeah.
So what's the balance there? Making sure that there's no fraud. But first and foremost, I think we have to say it's also got to be easy. It's got to be accessible for lots of different kinds of people to make it to the ballot.
And thank goodness in Utah, it is easier than ever. If I want to go vote early, I have 15 days or whatever to go in person. There are no lines. It's that we have drop boxes. It's been a really easy process. So stay with us. In our next segment, we're going to be talking with a representative who has a bill on this very topic. So we're going to stick with this. Keep talking about the legislature. Keep talking about election bills. Stay with us.
The newest part of your morning, and still so familiar.
When you wake up and listen to a radio show, it's like you're a part of a family. You're listening in on people you know, and it's magnificent that Andy Farnsworth is sitting in the chair because he's someone we know.
Utah's Morning News. Andy Farnsworth joins Amanda Dixon to bring you important news in the car. 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Your CPA should be the first person you think of to help you get the most from your finances. Along with extensive tax expertise, CPAs also provide personal financial planning, business growth strategies, and general accounting services. Your CPA can make valuable tax-saving suggestions that a software program can't anticipate. For more than 100 years, the Utah Association of CPAs has served the professional community as the go-to resource for education, training, and advocacy. As trusted advisors, you can expect the best when it comes to CPAs leading you to financial wellness. Hire a CPA for making the most out of your money. Go to uacpa.org. uacpa.org to find a CPA that's right for you. That's uacpa.org. Proud sponsor of the Money Making Sense podcast with Heather Kelly. Download wherever you listen to podcasts.
If you're trying to decide which gutter protection to put on your home, don't just ask how they'll handle leaves. Ask how they'll handle ice. Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors, and that's right, ice. See, plenty of gutter guards are good at keeping out leaves, but most are made with flimsy materials that can bend, buckle, and break under the weight of too much ice. Kind of a big problem in an icy state like Utah, right? At RGS Exteriors, our exclusive gutter protection systems are built Utah tough. They're made with premium strength materials that hold up to 1,200 pounds of ice per square foot. Simply put, they're not going to budge. Our gutter guards are also certified to handle hurricane-level winds and rain. Mother Nature can't damage them. Guaranteed. Utah Tough Products. That's the RGS way. For a free estimate, call 801-280-3110 or visit rgsexteriors.com. That's rgsexteriors.com or 801-280-3110.
I don't feel so good.
You do feel hot. Dayquil Kids will take care of that fever.
What about my cough?
Dayquil Kids has that covered.
Will it make my throat feel better?
Yes, that too.
But will it taste good?
Yep, Dayquil Kids comes in your favorite flavor.
Purple?
Well, yes, it's grape.
Try new Dayquil Kids Plus Fever, the daytime coughing, aching, sore throat fever just for kids medicine. Safe for kids 6+. Use as directed.
Bombas makes the most comfortable socks, underwear, and T-shirts.
Warning, Bombas are so absurdly comfortable you may throw out all your other clothes.
Sorry, do we legally have to say that?
No, this is just how I talk, and I really love my Bombas.
They do feel that good. And they do good, too. One item purchased equals one item donated.
To feel good and do good, go to bombas.com/radio and use code radio for 20% off your first purchase. That's bombas.com/radio and use code radio at checkout.
Things are just better with a partner or a friend. And when it comes to losing weight, Soda Weight Loss makes it easier than ever to let go of the weight for good.
I'd been wanting to lose weight, and I tried on my own. I'd been seeing things for Soda, and so we talked to the nutritionist and loved every bit of it. You know, I couldn't be happier, honestly, with the result.
Join with a partner and only pay for one. Imagine achieving all your weight loss goals together with your partner, and you only pay for one.
I've let go 50 pounds, and I don't have the cravings that I used to have.
I would definitely recommend Soda. It's because it works. I even recommended it to my daughter, and she's on her journey now.
Just go and look at the almost 9,000 Google reviews about Soda Weight Loss. Lose the weight without injections, without medications, without hunger. Get started now at sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Healthcare with human kindness is here. It's at Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Together, we have a common purpose, partnering with you in health and healing using powerful medicine, powerful technology, and the greatest power of all, human kindness. You'll know it when you see it, because human kindness is in every care site and in every caregiver. Common Spirit Health. Hello, human kindness.
Inside Sources. Inside Sources on KSL News Radio.
The election the legislative session is up and going. We are on our first week, and it is always a big time because we've got 104 lawmakers making choices that will impact everything about our laws and our lives. And this is Mara Carabello here with Adam Gardner. Last few minutes, we've been talking about one of the hottest issues, which is elections. This does impact us directly. And we've had Representative Jefferson Burton on the show last week to talk broadly about some election-related bills. He is running point, it appears. He can tell us if that's a true point, but he's running point on many of the bills and helping to coordinate from an elections process. We want him here today to talk about one specific bill that he's carrying, and it is addressing vote by mail, which Utah was one of the first adopters of vote by mail, Adam, and we've traditionally had a history of success with it, and it was led by Republicans back in the day when we adopted this a decade ago.
And I think it was 2011, something like that. We've
It's been
had it for a
around
long
for a while.
time, and we've been able to work out a lot of our kinks. We saw
Mhm.
during COVID, a lot of states were really struggling with how to bring everything just to do vote by mail throughout their states. And we kind of were like, we've been there,
Old
done
hat,
that.
right?
We figured it out. And it seems that people really like vote by mail. I was listening to a speech by Speaker Mike Schultz, and he said, we know that they, based on this audit that we had done, we know there are some security issues that we need to work through, but my constituents are telling me that they love vote by mail. They love it the ballot sitting on their counter, and they can do the research on who their candidates are, and you can talk with your spouse about it. You can call friends. Being politicos, we really love it because we get texts all the time saying, what should I do on this? And I feel like I get more votes
and you
just
get more
by
time
talking to my friends and family. And we're lucky enough to have State Representative Jefferson Burton, one of the good guys. I can't help but calling him General Burton whenever I see him. He was the Adjutant General of the National Guard here in the state of Utah. We thank him for his service and his service again as a legislator. Representative Burton, thanks so much for being on the show.
Pleasure. Thanks, Adam.
Okay, can you give us a little synopsis of what HB 300 is and what it does?
Yeah, in a nutshell, HB 300 is just centered around election security. And the important thing is, Utah, we're a trendsetter. In fact, we're the only majority red state that does mail-in voting. And we're also the only majority red state that doesn't require identification when we vote. And this is a challenge that we found in talking to voters. We want to be open to what the voters want, and we strive to not be tone deaf to the information we're receiving. So we have done numerous polls with Deseret News, Hinckley Institute, Pew Research. We've also done one survey through the Sutherland Group. And so we're getting pretty clear information. Utahns love vote by mail. You're correct. But one of the challenges, and one of the that came out of the Pew poll, was that 81% of Americans believe and agree that we should show identification when we vote. And so the way this bill would work in simple terms is you would still receive your ballot by mail. It would come to your home. You would be able to sit around the kitchen table with your spouse or significant other and talk about how you want to vote. People seem to like that. My wife and I do it, and we enjoy having that time. But when the envelope is sealed and returned, we would take the post office out of that equation. We're going to have multiple drop box sites throughout the valleys wherever voters live, and you will be able to take that ballot and hand it to a real person who will check your voter ID, your ID issued by the state, and you drop that in a lockbox, and that is what goes to the county clerk. The good news is we know we had some problems in our election just passed in November with votes that were misguided, went to another state, didn't get counted, may have changed the result of that election. We had some other issues that we found with our audits, with a few deceased people that voted. We had folks voting for people that were out of the state and not able to vote. They voted for them and signed their name, which was also not kosher and accurate. So this will provide a system whereby folks will show the ID, the votes are secure, they're locked up. And the other thing it solves really quickly is that we will be able to get voter results by the close of the election day. We won't be waiting for days and days to get the data released. And so these are the kind of the problems we're trying to address: the security piece, the timing piece, and the fact that voters want that information released on election day.
So, Representative Burton, I want to take those all individually, because one of the challenges I have are when bills, rightly so, try and tackle a couple of things. And it seems to me that by tackling the security issue, which in this bill is addressed by having identification, you are taking away vote by mail. So you're mailing me the ballot, but I have to show up in person. So for all intents and purposes, I don't actually get to mail in my ballot. I don't have mail. So I'm going to try and separate those two issues, because I think we've tackled the issue sometimes of identification, and we can tackle that without doing mail. So I'm going to start with just the mail part. If you take away the ability for me to send my ballot in by mail, and let's say we've tackled the identification part in some other way, maybe you verify an ID when I register to vote. I mean, we can tackle the ID. So let's assume we did that. I worry that if we don't have the ability to vote by mail, what we do know from the data is that young women with families have really increased their voting by being able to mail it in. Seniors, people with disabilities, people who live in rural areas, those folks have really upped their participation. And by making ID and the ability to vote, aren't we taking two problems and conflating them when it would be better if we dealt with both of them individually?
Yeah, wonderful question, honestly. I would say that one of the biggest problems we've had nationally in this country over the last many years is the fact that voters have lost confidence in our system, in our voting system.
But 87% of Utahns actually have confidence in our system. I think that's true nationally. We know from the same data. So
you're
voters have confidence in our system.
But nationally, the issue has been, and it still continues to be, and with the majority of Utahns, is the idea of ID. Let me just say that signatures have never been identification. And one of the things that this solves is the signature curing, where somebody is sitting in an office trying to match your signature. And we all know that when we sign things, if we sign it in a hurry, our signature does not look the same as if we sign it with time on our hands. So the bottom line is this bill allows you to opt in to vote by mail still. But the problem we're trying to solve, and we have the data as well. We aren't doing this in a vacuum. What we don't want to be is tone deaf to the voters. So yeah, the voters love mail-in voting, but they've also expressed in high numbers that they're concerned that some people are voting that maybe shouldn't because we aren't checking identification.
And those are Utah numbers. The numbers I've seen is that Utahns think our ballot process is actually very secure and very safe.
From the perspective of the way the question was asked, Utahns do like in large numbers mail-in voting. That is correct. But we've had many citizens here and voters that have told us that they're concerned. That's why we did the audit in the first place, and that's where we found some inequities. Not large, not widespread, but the inequities were there. Folks that had deceased and somebody had filled out that ballot for them and signed it and sent it in, or like I had, some of my constituents calling me and telling me, well, I have a couple of kids on LDS missions, and I just filled theirs out and signed them and sent them in.
So, Representative, with what we have left,
do.
Where are you in the process? Like, tell me how it'll start in the House.
Yes.
What do you have next in front of you? Tell us how this bill will get to the end.
Yeah. So laws should not be easy to change, and they shouldn't be easy to pass. And so we have some work to do before this goes through. Obviously, it has to go through a House committee. It has to be debated there. And then if it passes that House committee, it moves on to the House floor. And then if it passes there, we go through the same process again in the Senate. And so this is what I love about this process and the system. We debate things. We take the time and the effort so that we don't make mistakes. The good news is if we make a mistake, we can correct it. And so this bill will probably be heard in the next 3 weeks potentially, and it will be a chance for people to debate the issue. But the bottom line is, we believe one of the most important fundamentals in our republic is that our citizens have faith in the voting system, and that identification has always been the way we identify someone, not by a signature. Signatures are very difficult to really use as identification, and that's the key factor here. We're not going to use signatures.
Representative Burton, thanks so much for joining us on the show. I want to just, as we wrap up here on Inside Sources, I want to just mention you made a great clarification that if this bill were to pass, you would still be able to opt in to vote by mail and keep that process. And I think that's an important
correct.
distinction.
And real quickly, the absentee vote methodology still wouldn't change. When I was in the military in Europe, I voted for 4 years by mail. That will stay in place. There are exceptions for handicapped folks and so forth. So
great. Thank you so much, Representative Burton, for taking time out of your very busy day and being with us. When Inside Sources returns, we're going to take a quick break from the state legislature and talk about Salt Lake County. The county council has a new chair, and she joins us next.
Good afternoon. It's 1:31 at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Chaleos. KSL's top local story this hour. The woman accused of killing her husband and writing a children's book about grief is back in court today. Corey Richens is facing multiple charges, including attempted murder, mortgage and insurance fraud, and multiple counts of forgery. Our top national story from ABC News. President Trump ending federal DEI programs and initiatives and putting all employees there on paid administrative leave. Now he's also signaling the federal government will look at the private sector and its hiring practices.
President Trump touted the executive order he signed earlier this week ending diversity, equity, inclusion mandates, policies, and programs in the federal government. His executive action also ended affirmative action policies from the Lyndon B. Johnson administration in the 1960s that required federal contractors take affirmative action to ensure non-discrimination. Trump's executive action also encouraged the private sector to end what the White House calls illegal DEI discrimination and preferences.
These are policies that were absolute nonsense throughout the government and the private sector.
Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
The Dow is up by 300 points, sitting at 44,461. S&P up by 13. The NASDAQ down by 27. Coming up, we do have a chance of storms. We'll check KSL weather next. KSL News Time, 1:32.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
If you've ever set New Year's resolutions before, you know how difficult it is to follow through because you have to wait to see the results. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and in honor of your New Year, New You resolutions, Any Hour Services is having our New Year, New System sale. From now until the end of February, Any Hour Services will give you $2,025 off a new furnace and air conditioner. And you don't have to wait to save the money. You get $2,025 off at the time of purchase. The only thing you have to do to qualify for our New Year, New System sale is call Any Hour Services and schedule a free estimate. When you call, there's no obligation to buy. Just schedule a time to meet that works best for you. Let me say that again. From now until the end of February, when you have Any Hour Services install a new furnace and air conditioner, we'll give you $2,025 off. Call Any Hour Services right now and schedule a free estimate. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Stop for a moment and think about this. Do you know how much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Or will the government take a bigger chunk than you thought? Remember, you still might owe taxes on that money. But do you have a plan to help make sure you don't pay more than you should? At Capital Wealth Advisors, we believe you deserve to keep more of what you've earned, which is why we're here to help you navigate the confusing world of retirement taxes. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Right now, taxes are historically low, but they won't be this low forever. So call the Capital Wealth Advisors team today so you don't miss out on this opportunity. 801-210-5500. That's 801-210-5500. You work hard for your money, and we'll work just as hard to help you keep it. Capital Wealth Advisors, 801-210-5500. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor. Firm may not give tax advice.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Is your mom or dad struggling to get in and out of their chair? Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical. We've seen it happen for years. As customers come into our store and they've had a recent fall, they're finally ready to ask for some help. Don't wait until you're injured. We have everything you need to avoid the fall before it happens. Now until the end of February, we're running a deal that we think you're going to love. When you purchase a lift chair, you can unlock 10% off your entire purchase. Get side tables, canes, shower chairs, walkers, and even ramps. We're open Monday through Friday. We've got stores from Idaho Falls to St. George and now in Tooele. Come into any one of our 11 locations and let us help you. Find us online at alpinehomemedical.com.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by My Style Checking from Mountain America Credit Union. Ricky?
We do have a crash. Redwood Road at about 1100 North. They're working to get that cleared out of the way. If you're traveling I-15 or any of the other Valley freeways, you are good to go. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today's high 36 degrees, up to 41 tomorrow, but then a chance of storms moving in up to 40% by Saturday. 34 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. I'm Maria Chaleos. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Inside Sources. Inside Sources. A new presidency, new state leaders, and a new legislative session. Utah's top political experts discuss the day's biggest stories. Only on KSL News Radio.
Welcome back to Inside Sources on KSL News Radio. I'm Adam Gardner here with Mara Carabello. The Salt Lake County Council has several new members and a new council chair, and we're lucky enough in studio to have Council Chair Dee Theodore joining us to talk about some of the priorities in 2025. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. Glad to be here today.
We're going to kick it off with something fun.
All right.
Criminal justice.
Oh, man, nothing says fun like criminal justice.
This is how nerds have fun.
Yeah,
Mara.
yes, that's
we
right.
geek out over this stuff. Salt Lake County, the city, the state have all been trying to work together to make sure we can find solutions for criminal justice reform, for homelessness, for mental health. There's a whole lot that goes into this world of criminal justice and reform. Recently, Salt Lake County put forward, I don't know when they did it. It was in the early fall. They put it out there, a $500 million public safety bond, and it did not pass in November. And so my curiosity is totally piqued. What happens next? If you didn't get everything you wanted out of that bond, where does the council go from here?
Yeah, that's a great question. We've had a lot of questions actually geared toward that issue as well. And so, and actually nothing's really changed since that didn't pass. So we're still in a predicament where we have to make some serious decisions about what we're doing with the jail. The biggest portion of our budget goes to, criminal justice. And so the jail, and it's a huge item here in the county, and it really needs our attention right now. And so we have not met yet to collaborate on what our next move is, but it's definitely coming very soon because we do have to take some action on what our next steps will be.
Yeah, because you have 2 years. If you wanted to put it back on the ballot, it would be 2026.
Right.
So you have needs, obviously, right now.
Right.
And so you guys will have to figure out whether you're going to bridge those, put a Band-Aid on it, just all the choices.
Yeah, and there's no immediate solution right now. It's going to take a minute to figure out what we are doing. And it always takes time to implement whatever you decide on.
Government does not move quickly, usually.
That's true.
So let's take a step back then. We're talking about we're going to have to make some hard decisions. There are some issues with the jail. But talk about what the issues with the jail are. Is it bed space, or is the county having to be mental health professionals when that's not their game? What are the issues in the jail?
Definitely. We are at capacity, so that's a big factor right now. And Oxbow is in need of a lot of repairs. And so the question is, do we keep funneling money into that facility that's aging and falling apart, where it's going to cost so much at this point to keep that in place? But we really don't want to we've just put in the basics where they've just needed things that immediately need replaced, and we've done it for Oxbow. So we're not doing anything more until we figure out a solution long term of what we plan to do. But yeah, gel is definitely getting filled up, and so it's a big issue. And people are worried about it.
So, Chair, I want to talk about the who we're talking about is making these decisions. Adam just told us you were elected as the chair of the council. Congratulations.
Yes.
It's a 9-person council.
Yeah.
You've got 3 new folks. You successfully stood for re-election, and then you have 3 folks, I think, who will be totally new. One of them, I think, has served in the legislature, so they've been in a body before.
Yeah.
And it's a Republican. It's a 5-4 Republican majority. Although my experience is sometimes for Salt Lake County, one of the things I love about county government is, by and large, it's really about getting things done. Not quite as much about partisanship that we hear in the federal government. Usually, it's just about. So, what are you thinking about the new folks? Like, how will people settle in? And then as you guys coalesce, have you chosen priorities you're going to be focused on?
You bet. And absolutely what you said is true. I mean, we have new people in, and going into it, my goal is to be as collaborative as possible. We have new people that are coming in. We want to welcome them, and they are excited to be there, and we're happy to have them. And so right now I think we have a really great council, and we're off to a good start. And so we want to keep that momentum. And we just want to work together to provide the best services for Salt Lake County and tackle all these issues collaborative as well. And that's a big thing, is collaborative work between the mayor's office and the council is key in solving a lot of these complex issues. So that is my goal, and that's really what it takes right now. And so we will be collaborating with the mayor's office on a lot of these issues, and trying to figure out the best solution for our county residents and some of these more difficult issues. So you bet.
A lot of people don't have any clue what the county does.
That's true.
I was the county recorder, and I would call people or like talk to them at events and explain why they should vote for me. And then after I would finish giving the spiel, they'd say, so, like, what do you do again?
Right.
And so they just didn't understand the tax system. They didn't understand that the county dealt with criminal justice, et cetera. So it's really hard to pay attention to something when you don't understand what they do. It's a $2 billion budget. And
second largest government in the state.
Second largest government. And so you have this kind of it's not a perception problem, because people just don't know that you're there or what you do. So how would you explain to voters, to Salt Lake County residents, or people that are just concerned, look, if you don't live in Salt Lake County, you still use the Eccles Theater, you still use all of the things that Salt Lake County funds. Yeah. And I mean, those are county facilities, right? And they're beautiful facilities. Yeah. And so we're proud of them. But how would you let residents know how to see what you guys are doing? How do they get in touch with you? How do we find out what Salt Lake County is going to be doing the next year?
Yeah, and that's a great question. I mean, we get that all the time. Like, are you city? Are you county? And so I have to explain the difference. And it's a huge county. It really is. We have a lot of people here, and over 1 million. And we're only growing. It's getting bigger. So that's the biggest issue, is providing all these services on our budget. And we haven't raised taxes, by the way, so I will point that out. Well, I've been there, and it's not just me, but I mean, we have not raised taxes at the county. So I think that's something we can be very proud of. And
Thank
we
you.
provided great services for the county. And these are services people really love, like our libraries and our art centers, our venues.
Your parks, regional
our
parks are awesome.
I mean, this is what I hear. People just love what we do with our parks and all of our facilities. So there's a lot of good things that we do. I will say our unincorporated area, which is technically what the county started out governing, is shrinking. However, we have regional items that we are over, and libraries and all the things I mentioned are part of that as well. So I think we're more of a regional government body at this point in time, and there's just so many things that come through the county that people don't even realize, and there's a lot of things that pass through as well. From the state and the feds as well.
Transit, roads.
Yeah,
it's a big deal.
So
and
there's a lot of things.
Yeah, the tax system, your property taxes are determined by what the county does and says.
Yeah.
And so it's a big deal what you guys do, and we appreciate you doing it. It's a little bit of a different makeup this year. Explain the different how it works. Are you guys Republicans and Democrats? Are you like a city council? How are you guys elected?
Yeah, so unlike your city councils, which are nonpartisan, we are partisan. So we do run on a partisan platform, and we do have 5 Republicans and 4 Democrats on our 9-member council right now. We do have a Democratic mayor. And so we strive to work together. We are we do communicate well together as well. So like I said, I think we're off to a great start, but it is a little different. So you do get those hiccups with the politics occasionally, but overall, the issues that we deal with are mostly nonpartisan. So it's just, again, providing those services to residents of Salt Lake County and being efficient and saving taxpayers as much money as possible in that process.
I'm just going to end with another plug for county government. I mean, county government really does speak to your quality of life a ton. It is a big enough government to be able to put resources together like the parks and the libraries and the arts. We just passed ZAP for Salt Lake County. So I'm going to end this by saying, one, thank you. Congratulations on your becoming the chair. We've been talking to Dee Theodore, who just got reelected for Salt Lake County Council, but also just got elected by her peers to be the chair. And if you have not taken interest in county government, you'll love it. So get involved. Go to their website. Really interactive website, actually. I mean, really easy to actually navigate the county. So go check out their website. And thanks for joining us today.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Next on Inside Sources, we're going to be taking a look at a growing industry in Utah that you might not be super familiar with, biotech. That's coming up after the break.
Is your financial advisor offering you up to a 30% upfront bonus? Are they promising you up to 10% growth per year guaranteed for your retirement income? If not, you need a new financial advisor. I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. If you plan to retire within the next 10 years, don't wait only to find out it's too late. I've seen hard-working folks like you retire only to be required to go back to work, all because their advisor told them guarantees like these were too good to be true. They're not. That's up to $30,000 up front or up to $10,000 per year on $100,000, all guaranteed for retirement income. Don't work when you're supposed to be retired. And if any financial advisor tells you it's too good to be true, they simply don't have the options we do. Call Trajan today at 801-899-7600.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company.
KSL offers the best daily newsletter in the state. It's the 3 things you need to know. Every weekday, we deliver quality and relevant content to your inbox. No ads, no spam, just the 3 things you need to know to be informed about the world around you. Subscribe today. Visit KSLNewsRadio.com or text the word inbox to 57500. That's inbox to 57500.
Here's something you don't want to miss. We want to let you know about Advanced Garage Door. They're a great company that Deb and I discovered.
Kyle, what sets Advanced Garage Door apart from other companies?
At Advanced Door, we're always looking for the industry-leading and highest quality garage door parts. We handle everything from repairs and installations to maintenance and emergency services. Plus, we provide a lifetime warranty on all residential doors and parts.
A lifetime warranty? That's amazing. What does it cover?
Our lifetime warranty covers labor on residential doors, parts, and services, as long as our recommendations are followed. This means our customers can enjoy peace of mind knowing their garage doors are always protected.
That's fantastic. So if someone's garage door is giving them trouble, what should they do?
Just give us a call. Our certified technicians are available 24/7 to provide prompt and reliable service. We're here to ensure your garage door is always in top shape.
For all your garage door needs, visit advanced-door.com.
Or call 801-989-DOOR. That's 801-989-3667.
Advanced Garage Door, where we sell peace of mind.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Where can you kick off the new year with big savings on gig speed? Only with Xfinity. Now through January 30th, get gig internet at home for $25 a month for 1 year when you add an unlimited mobile line, which connects you with gig speed Wi-Fi on the road. Act fast today and save more than $650 over AT&T and Verizon in your first year. Plus, hurry and take advantage because right now you can also get a free 5G phone with trade-in. So save big and stay connected to what you love with fast gig speed internet and mobile from home to hotspots. This new year, it's all about gig speeds and big savings. Don't wait and get gig speed internet, spend less green, and switch to Xfinity. Go to xfinity.com/gig savings to learn more. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account restrictions apply. Equipment taxes and fees extra. $40 internet discount applied to mobile bill after promo. Regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary. Savings compared to Verizon Fiber Gig Plus 1 unlimited welcome line and AT&T Fiber Gig Plus 1 unlimited starter line. Xfinity internet required reduced speeds after 30 gigabytes of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual speeds vary.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Inside Sources on KSL News Radio.
We often hear about big tech and the impact of those companies that they're making locally and nationally. Silicon Slopes, which is an awesome addition to our state. But there's a specific kind of tech that's very different. It's called biotech. And these are manufacturers and developers of medical devices, pharmaceuticals, diagnostic products. And it currently accounts for $500 million a year for Utah's economy. So it's huge, Mara.
It's huge. And we don't talk about it as much. We talk a lot about tech bros. And I mean, I say that tongue in cheek because they're providing a lot to our economy, but they're also often when we talk about technology, it's just a blanket term. And biotech is totally different. And again, you said this, Adam, it bears repeating. Utah's kind of a hub. We've been building an epicenter. We've got some major heavy hitters. And we have the president and CEO of BioUtah, which is a nonprofit organization that helps organize these groups and support these groups. Kelvin Cullimore is here with us today. Kelvin, thanks for joining us.
Well, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So first, tell us the difference. What is biotech and how is it different from what we normally hear about the tech sector?
Well, a lot of high tech is more software driven. Biotech is what we call life sciences. So as you have already indicated, it's medical devices, it's pharmaceuticals and diagnostics. And many of those incorporate elements of software and tech in them, but they are targeted towards helping to improve life and save lives.
Okay. First of all, I would like to point out Kelvin Cullimore, a good friend, when we were starting up our organization for Utah Aerospace and Defense, another huge sector in the state that didn't have an association. It's now called 47G. Kelvin is one of the people I called to find out how to start it and what makes a successful association, because I think that BioUtah has been one of those things. And so they kind of advocate for the industry. And so, Kelvin, I want to congratulate you and your association for all you do. I also want to kind of find out, just kind of on a more micro level, what are some of the coolest technologies that are being developed right here in the state of Utah? What are they being used for? How are they changing our country? How are they changing the world?
I think many people would be really surprised to know the kinds of technologies that are being done here. For instance, we're a leader in brain-computer interface technology, BlackRock Neurotech. Edwards Life Sciences does the TAVR heart valve replacement, where you can have your aortic valve replaced in almost an outpatient procedure now. We have a company called Teva Pharmaceuticals that does a whole bunch of pharmaceuticals that people would recognize, and they're all manufactured right here. Nusano is doing radioisotopes, one of the coolest new technologies that helps to fight cancer. I could go on and on. There are all sorts of really cool technologies that are being done that we're quite proud of. And Adam, just to correct one thing that you said $500 million of the economy. We're actually $22 billion contributing to the Utah economy.
I wasn't off by much.
Yeah,
Only 21.5 billion.
Kelvin, tell us about jobs in this field. If I'm listening and I'm energized, what kind of degrees? Is it possible to get jobs in these local biotech firms?
Yeah, in fact, it's interesting. Utah is, depending on which study you look at, either the second or third fastest growing life science community in the United States, and has been for a decade, which means we're generating jobs at a rate of over 5% growth every year. So there is significant opportunities for jobs, everything from C-suite to engineering, chemical engineering, electrical engineering, all the way down to the manufacturing floor. We employ thousands of people in manufacturing devices. That is something that most people aren't aware of. And so we employ directly over 50,000 people in the state of Utah, and directly and indirectly over 180,000. So there are jobs available, and there's lots of demand for the kinds of jobs that we generate, because they pay on average 50% more than the average pay in the state.
Well, I'm going to ask for a letter of recommendation from you then, if that's the case. Because we're talking about jobs, and I want to find out, the legislature this year is kind of doing, I don't want to call it an overhaul, but they're really taking a look at higher education in our university system, and trying to tailor universities to get people jobs when they get out of school, and to get concurrent enrollment in high school, make sure kids are prepared. Is the biotech sector, are the needs of that sector for new jobs, is that being met by our universities in the state? Do you have enough people?
We are making good progress on that. We are very fortunate to be one of the target industries the state of Utah has identified. And so many of our universities are curating programs to address our specific needs. Last legislative session, they appropriated $4 million to go directly towards developing higher ed curriculum that addresses life science needs in particular. And there's a new program coming out in this legislative session that will even do more work-based learning programming. And so we feel very strongly that the state is not only behind us, but our institutions of higher education are behind us. We were able to take a trip over to Ireland with the president of several universities to see how Galway University is supporting life sciences there in a very unique way. And that has influenced the legislation that we're running on this particular session.
So, Kelvin, I want to close with you just blowing our minds with something cool. So you get a sneak peek. If you can't name names, don't. But like you said, you're into pharmaceuticals, medical devices, diagnostics. What have you seen that you're just like, holy cow, this is totally the future?
You have to blow our minds in 1 minute.
Exactly.
Well, there are so many things that are going on. It's hard to do that because it runs the whole gamut. But we're seeing, as I mentioned, the brain-computer interface stuff. We're seeing new technologies for treating cancer that are amazing. Diagnostics that can tell if you have what kind of Alzheimer's you have. We've got drugs that are coming out to address neurodegenerative diseases. All of this is being done right here in Utah. And several of them by homegrown companies like Merit Medical or Halia Therapeutics or Denali. I mean, we're very fortunate to have companies that are really at the cutting edge of their particular discipline.
President and CEO of BioUtah, Kelvin Cullimore, thank you so much for talking to Adam and I today on Inside Sources.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So, Adam, I mean, this is a huge industry. You don't hear much about it. We've talked, there are two groups. There's BioUtah. There's also a thing called BioHive, and that spins off and encourages the economic development part of biotechnology. I love Utah for years, for the policy wonks, has really emphasized diversifying our economy.
Yeah, exactly.
Having these little nuggets of little generators that make us pretty safe from a jobs point of view. And so cool to take a minute to deep dive on something like that. Hey, next we're going to go to a big hot issue. Let's dig into energy here in the Beehive State. So stay with us.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon. It's 2 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Maria Shilaos. KSL's top national story. A federal judge has temporarily blocked President Trump's executive order limiting birthright citizenship.
It took mere minutes for the federal judge in Seattle, who was appointed by Ronald Reagan, to temporarily block President Trump's executive order limiting birthright citizenship, saying it appears to violate the 14th Amendment, which says that somebody born in the U.S. is a citizen. The judge slammed the president's order, saying it is blatantly unconstitutional and asked where lawyers were when President Trump's executive order was being written. The judge saying he has never seen something so unconstitutional come before him. He's now blocking the executive order. Other challenges to the order are moving forward as well. Alex Stone, EBC News.
Here in Utah, Sundance begins its 11-day run in Park City today. Local businesses welcome the chaos that the film festival brings. But Ivy Joquera, manager of Top of Maine Brew Pub, says it would be tough if this ends up being the last year of the festival in Park City.
For the business, a huge drop in sales during this time of year. We definitely get a lot of business because of the Sundance comers.
She admits there would be much less traffic without the festival. Also, locals that stay away from Park City during the festival might return, however, to ski and shop. Taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow ending the day up 408 points, nearly a full percent, and at 44,565. A little bit of wet weather headed our way. We'll check the weather coming up next. KSL News Time, 2:01.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Experience the Crossings by Fieldstone Homes. Enjoy elevated lifestyle in this beautiful Heber Valley Luxury Series community near parks, a fishing pond, pool, and clubhouse minutes from Park City, Salt Lake City, in Utah County. With serene mountain views and plenty of fresh air, we stand out in the Crossings with unique transitional architecture and options for built-in rental suites or ADU apartments. These homes are simply gorgeous and near 2 reservoirs, Provo River, Daniels Summit, and ski resorts. Join Fieldstone Homes for a truly unique home buying solution. Saturday, January 25th, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the grand opening of the Crossroads in Heber. Enjoy lunch from the on-site food truck and grand opening giveaways while you explore these beautiful new homes. Design your new home or select a quick move-in home. The curated Fieldstone design and architecture is unmatched. With multiple incentive offers and floor plans starting in the mid-900s, you've got to visit fieldstonehomes.com for details. Fieldstone Homes. It's time.
If you've ever experienced running out of hot water before your shower was done, or hard water spots on dishes and fixtures, I've got a deal you might be interested in. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and you probably already know that a tankless water heater and a water softener solve both issues. If you've ever thought about looking into getting a tankless water heater, here's the deal I was talking about. Through the end of February, we're including a free water softener with every new tankless water heater we install. The best part of this deal might be that you never have to worry about being the last one to the shower again, or that you don't have to waste the money keeping 40 to 50 gallons of water hot 24/7. To take advantage of this deal, call Any Hour Services before the end of February. The visit's free and there's no obligation to buy. If you decide to have us install a new tankless water heater, we'll throw in the water softener for free. That's right, a free water softener when you purchase a tankless water heater. Pick up the phone and call Any Hour Services right now for all the details. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
The KSL News Radio movie show comes to My Hearing Centers today from 10 to 1. But first, discover what My Hearing Centers can do for you. My Hearing Centers uses advanced technology to diagnose and treat hearing loss. These comprehensive evaluations determine the best treatment options. Then enjoy lifetime support with regular check-ins, cleaning, and maintenance. Call My Hearing Centers at 801-701-1629. 801-701-1629 for more details. My Hearing Centers has offices from Ogden to St. George.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by My Style Checking from Mountain America Credit Union. What's happening, Ricky?
Right now, I'm looking for what is causing some delays on northbound I-15. Haven't found it yet. going right through the heart of the valley from just after 4500 south up to 3300 south. Now, it does look like traffic is starting to move again, but it has definitely been bogged down by something. That's the only thing that we have as a problem on your valley freeways. Visit the boat show January 30th through February 2nd at Mountain America Expo Center in Sandy. This is your opportunity to shop, compare, and buy the boat of your dreams. Visit UtahBoatShow.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Clouds moving in as we head into Friday. 10% chance of showers tomorrow, but our best chance of showers looks like snow showers, 40% chance on Saturday. Right now it's 34 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. I'm Maria Shilaos from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Inside Sources. Inside Sources. A new presidency, new state leaders, and a new legislative session. Utah's top political experts discuss the day's biggest stories. Only on KSL News Radio.
Eye on the Hill 2025. Special coverage on Inside Sources.
The legislative session is underway, and it looks to be the year for energy as a primary focus. So many of the conversations over the last few months seem to focus on the source of our power. Where does our electricity come from? How are we going to get more of it? What do our rates look like? I mean, we talked about this a number of times on the show. Yeah. Rocky Mountain Power was going to hike everybody's rates. The legislature was freaking out about it. The governor was ticked, and he said so.
That's right.
Publicly and on Twitter. And so those are some of the things that we're definitely going to talk about.
And we talk about, is it coal? Do we love coal?
Right.
Do we hate coal? We produce coal. Do we love nuclear? Utah's being thrown out there as maybe being a new hub for nuclear. We've gone big on solar in the past. Geothermal's interesting. The wind.
Yeah.
So that's just so you know. You and I, Adam, those are sources, right? Mm-hmm. And we've spent some time on sources.
So but there's other things that we need to talk about, Mara, and I really think that it's just hard because energy is such a big, vast topic.
Yeah, it means nothing and everything.
Yes, when you say, "Oh, we're going to be talking about energy," that means nothing because there's so many things, like on a macro level, but in a micro level, we have a guest with us from the Energy Modernization Office at Pew Charitable Trust, a great organization that does a ton of amazing work. Carter Harms is with us. Carter, thanks so much for being with us.
It's great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
So, Carter, we wanted to talk about a really interesting part that we haven't heard much about, which is transmission. And that is so regardless of where the source comes from, how does it get to our houses? What are the issues around transmission? What does it look like? So we thought you could help us work through some of those. I'm going to start with basically, I think, the underlying theme of why we're spending so much time on energy right now at the legislative session, and it is because the demand for energy has grown exponentially. Like when you see the analysts talk about it, they say a hockey stick. We were chugging along at the bottom of the hockey stick, and then starting probably next year, we're almost at a straight line up. So tell us about transmission and what actions can be done to address this growth in need and to stay at the head of the curve in Utah.
Definitely. Well, let's start with a definition of transmission. And I like to think of transmission as the interstate highway system for energy. It helps get large amount of power over longer distances. So if we are going to meet growing demand, we need to produce more energy while expanding the electric grid to make sure that energy can get to where it's going. And there's a lot of innovation that's happening on transmission that I think is really interesting.
Like what? What are some of those? What are some of those very interesting things that are happening? Because I'm just trying to think how much is this going to cost? So are we doing the same thing that we did 60 years ago when we put up transmission lines, or is there something different we can do now?
Is technology giving us a leg up?
Definitely. So technology is giving us a leg up with transmission. Traditional transmission is expensive and it can take up to a decade to build. And we have energy demands that are more near term. And so what Pure has been looking at is what are called advanced transmission technologies. And these are technologies that help squeeze more capacity out of the existing grid infrastructure. And I like to give just one example of one of the advanced transmission technologies, or ATTs, that policymakers are considering. And that's called dynamic line rating, which essentially it puts sensors on existing transmission lines, and it gives grid planners real-time insight into what's happening with the conditions of their line, and so that they're able to safely put more power in those lines based on actual information rather than year-long averages. And just that, those sensors alone can increase the capacity of those lines by 10 to 30%.
10 to 30%.
Holy cow, that's a
impressive.
lot of power.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to restate it. So I'm looking at my power lines, and technology overlaps it, and we can see which of these little freeways is full and which of them has some capacity, and we can switch and adjust how we're pushing power through those transmission lines.
And that's just one of the technologies. Another one is the lines themselves. So in the last decade, we've seen innovation when it comes to the conductors, which are the lines that run between the towers, to what's called advanced conductors. And these are conductors that are better designed with stronger material, and just restringing those lines with the new conductors can see a 50 to 110% capacity boost out of that existing transmission line.
Holy cow. So so you can combine those two. If you add the new technology and the new lines, you could significantly increase, and we're talking anywhere from 50 to 130%. Because if you're going to use both of those technologies, oh my gosh. So if you're talking about Governor Cox has this goal, we need to double energy production over the next few years. This could be a low-hanging fruit way to do it.
Absolutely. It's one of the common sense solutions that people are coming to, and we've actually seen states across the nation starting to adopt policies to deploy these technologies on their grid. Just since 2023, 8 states have enacted policies to encourage the deployment of ATTs.
Okay, so what will this cost me? Or will it cost me as a ratepayer anything? What is the cost for these new technologies? Who pays for it?
Absolutely. Well, it's a suite of technologies, so cost can vary. The sensors, for example, are much cheaper than the new conductors. But what we're seeing is that with the system savings of these technologies, it's going to save consumers over time. One estimate from the Department of Energy said that it could reduce congestion costs, which is lack of transmission, so power can't get to where it needs, by $20.8 billion nationwide if these technologies are deployed. But it's certainly something that we'd like to see policymakers and utilities take a close look at and do that cost-benefit analysis on behalf of consumers.
Well, it's interesting to me because the billions of dollars that have been spent by utility companies that we're connected to in Utah, if they start fires in California, Northern California, and Oregon, and then lawsuits come and they have to pay out and they have to clean up and they have to rebuild houses and things, and that costs billions.
Yeah.
That's going to nothing. Yeah. I mean, we're not getting a better grid. We're not getting anything. And then Utahns are on the hook for that. Yeah. So it sounds to me like the argument is we maybe should bite the bullet and invest in infrastructure now because it'll be cheaper down the road.
As you said, low-hanging fruit a little bit. Carter, we started this discussion by talking about sources of energy, types. Do these upgrade technologies, do they care where the energy, is there a different mode if it comes from coal or geothermal or solar? Do technologies, are they dependent on energy source?
No, they're generation source agnostic. Basically, it's an investment in the grid that gets the energy from wherever it's produced to wherever it needs to go.
Okay, and I'm assuming you've been talking to some lawmakers in Utah, and these changes in technology upgrades are possible for this session.
Yeah, I've had the pleasure of working with policymakers in Utah. I actually got to present to an interim hearing to the Public Utilities, Energy, and Technology Committee about these advanced transmission technologies. And there's been a lot of interest to consider how they can help modernize Utah's grid and meet the growing energy demand that we are seeing, as you said, Maura, really starting to spike in places like Utah.
Well, Utah, let's get this done. Energy Modernization Officer at the Pew Charitable Trust, Carter Harms, thanks for joining us today.
It's a pleasure being with you. Thanks so much.
Adam, let's stick with the topic of energy and our theme, which is we are rocking and rolling on the legislative session. So let's dig a little deeper into the other energy issues that our legislature is going to address in the next few weeks. So stay tuned.
Join the smartest conversation in Utah, the team of analysts and political advisors that make up Inside Sources. Get unfiltered analysis of the new administration, the president's cabinet, and Utah's upcoming legislative session. Inside Sources, weekdays from 1 to 3 on KSL News Radio.
Hi, this is Doug Wright, and over the years, you've heard me praise the Kinetico soft water systems. You've heard that so often, you might be tempted to chuck a shoe at your radio. Well, hang on, because I've got some great news. Get this, Kinetico will pay you $50. I'm not kidding on this. They'll pay you $50 to buy a competing water softener from another dealer. Ready for the rules, though? Well, they're pretty simple. Invite Kinetico of Utah to your home for a free estimate on a Kinetico water softener. If within 60 days of hearing them out, you buy any other system from any other water softener dealer, Kinetico of Utah will fork over $50. That's how sure they are that after hearing them out, you won't settle for anything less than a Kinetico water softener. Now, this offer does expire in 30 days, so don't delay. Call Northern Utah's authorized Kinetico dealer, Kinetico Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, 801-576-8600, or log on to softwaterutah.com. That's softwaterutah.com. Tell them Doug sent you.
At Trio Senior Living, older adults aren't slowing down. They're just getting started. The Prime Fit Wellness Program expands wellness beyond the gym into every aspect of community life. Whatever your goals, the team at Trio Senior Living has got your back, so you can put your best foot forward. Join Trio Senior Living at the Winter Carnival, January 25th from noon to 2 p.m. We hope to see you there.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Fall in love with your home comfort this season and save money too. A $29 heating system tune-up from Yes Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric is the best way to ensure your HVAC system is operating at top efficiency. Boost your comfort and help prevent expensive breakdowns by calling the experts at Yes today for your $29 heating system tune-up. Trust the pros at Yes to keep your family comfortable. Call now or visit theyesmancan.com for details, terms, and conditions.
Things are just better with a partner or a friend. And when it comes to losing weight, Soda Weight Loss makes it easier than ever to let go of the weight for good.
I'd been wanting to lose weight, and I tried on my own. I'd been seeing things for Soda, and so we talked to the nutritionist and loved every bit of it. You know, I couldn't be happier, honestly, with the result.
Join with a partner and only pay for one. Imagine achieving all your weight loss goals together with your partner, and you only pay for one.
I've let go 50 pounds, and I don't have the cravings that I used to have.
I would definitely recommend Soda. It's because it works. I even recommended it to my daughter, and she's on her journey now.
Just go and look at the almost 9,000 Google reviews about Soda weight loss. Lose the weight without injections, without medications, without hunger. Get started now at sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
Inside Sources. Inside Sources on KSL News Radio.
As we mentioned in the last segment, energy is taking center stage during this year's legislative general session. Several bills have already been filed on energy, looking at ways to make energy cheaper, improve energy production, give Utah more control over its energy future. And I got to tell you, I deal a little bit in this space. Okay. And there's such an incentive right now in the state of Utah for new technologies to come in. Mm-hmm. When our leaders are saying, like, we love the coal industry, they're important, we need them because they are keeping our rates low and powering our state. But we also want an all-of-the-above approach. In my day job, in consulting, I work for some of those companies that are trying to come in with new technology. And I have to give the state a ton of credit here because the legislature and state agencies, everyone has been incredibly helpful. Department of Environmental Quality, who you think would be like your regulatory, like, we're not going to let you come. That's not how they were at all.
Right.
It was like, hey, we see what you're trying to do. We see that you want to be a clean energy, that you want to be efficient, et cetera. Here's how you go about it, and here's how we can help you, and here's how we make sure we stay in compliance, and just everyone was really helpful, and I think a lot of times they talk a big game, but they don't really show it, and that's not what I've seen from the legislature this go around.
Yeah, the other thing that's nice about Utah and a really sincere approach to all of the above is it actually has strategic goals, it has economic goals, it does have environmental goals, and you can achieve all those, and you can put down your partisanship. And everyone cares about air quality. There is not one person living in Utah who doesn't want clean air for our lungs and our kids. And we can do it all. And then you start to get in this interesting area of energy where renewables and things like wind and solar, they have such benefits, but one of the drawbacks are they're intermittent, right? And so that's not...
Explain what that means.
And it's not intended to be a diss on them. It means when the sun is shining, the sun works. When the sun's not shining, it doesn't work. When the wind's blowing, it works. When the wind doesn't blow. And that's where you go to what we would call durable energy, like coal. And that is to say, being agnostic to whether you like it or hate it, coal can run 24 days. Yeah, 24/7. So that's when you see our legislators and our private sector and our public utilities looking at things like geothermal and nuclear. And that's because those two sources, which nuclear and geothermal, and I should say most of what we're talking about with nuclear is small cell reactors, so little teeny guys that have much less risk when it comes to the world around them. I'm a fan of nuclear small cell because it took care of the risk that big nuclear did. But the reason it's worth having those discussions is if they can prove out to market, they also can be every day of the year, 24 hours a day. And energy in America and Utah, we're so lucky to have service providers, we don't think twice. We are completely intolerant of having our electricity shut off. So
we're
of
not
the
Southern
above,
California. We're not having brownouts and blackouts.
No, and so we have an expectation that whenever we want to turn on the lights, we'll have it. And again, Adam, I agree with you. The fact that our policymakers are saying, oh, it's got to be everything, and not one source totally will get us over the finish line like it maybe did 100 years ago.
Right, all of them will.
Yeah, we're going to, and all of them used together in a really smart way. I think that's true if you're left of ideology or right of ideology, and whether price is the most important, whether air quality, I think that is true no matter of your perspective. We were just talking a minute ago to a man Carter Harms from the Pew Charitable Trust, which does a lot of research on the issue. He was telling us about some low-hanging fruit by inserting technology into it. And as we look at the priority list for Utah, HB 212 by Representative Christine Watkins looks like it does just exactly that. Says, hey, let's make our existing lines more efficient by throwing in some new technology.
Which is awesome. And I'm glad that, like, and like Carter said, when he came to the state, he did a presentation and people listened to him. And folks on the committee are saying, yeah, okay, this is a great idea.
Data.
We want data on this. We want to study this. And just for folks at home who think that following the legislature is really daunting and hard, and how do you find out what this bill is, and how do I find out what things affect me? You're right. It's very daunting and it's very hard. But the legislature makes it a lot easier on you. If you go to le.utah.gov, you can search for bills and keyword search, and you can just track any keyword that you want. If energy matters to you, if hospitality matters to you, if homelessness matters to you, you can go and just type it in.
I'm going to throw this out there. If you think, that sounds so boring, these two wonks, Adam and Mara, are saying this, I'm going to throw out a little challenge to you. It can be just like your social media feed. You think you're immune from it, but you go to le.utah.gov, you start listening to those committees, you start tracking stuff. It's addicting.
Oh, and some of them are super funny and controversial, and I love it.
It is. It's a really good way. And we have a great website. Like you said, it's really user-friendly. You can watch them. You can hear them.
You can participate online. You can testify.
Yeah. One of the things I love is if you're interested in an issue, you can type in the issue, and there's a little resource that says, I want to follow this. And it'll update you anytime a bill you're interested in. It'll push to you, and it'll say, hey, your bill's moved to committee. It can be fun to follow those legislative resources and the conversations. I'm telling you, you may change your mind about who you vote for, or you may learn to love who you vote for, because you do get to know them a little more.
That's true. As we stick to the energy side of things, I want to focus on something you said, Mara, about nuclear energy. And again, in my day job, I represent a company that's the largest uranium producer in the United States. And they're a blast to work for. They're super smart, and the people that work down in Blanding are some of the smartest people I have ever met. They've invented new processes to process and refine rare earths. And anyway,
Speaker Schultz actually highlighted them in his opening day speech.
Yes, he did. As Speaker Schultz came down and toured the facility, the governor did, a number of senators and legislators did, and state officials. So they want to get on the ground and know what's happening. One of the interesting things that we talked about was they provide 20% of the uranium of what is necessary to power nuclear plants.
Okay.
About 20% of the United States nuclear need. The rest comes from usually Russia. Not a great place to buy uranium from.
Yeah.
And a lot of these small cell reactors use the same. We don't produce that in the United States. We can't refine it. The last one that was built in the U.S. was like 50 years ago, 60 years ago. And so that's an issue. During the Biden administration, they passed a law that says that the United States, no one can buy uranium from Russia unless the president himself grants a waiver.
Wow.
And the president has granted every single waiver that has been requested. So we really don't have a law.
A restriction.
We don't really have a restriction. And so that's something that's going to have to be overcome. President Adams, Speaker Schultz have talked a lot about nuclear energy. And as they do, they've talked about these cool, like micro, what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, they have these, they're not microgrids. They're like a nuclear, and not a reactor.
Okay.
What am I thinking of?
Oh, they're small cell.
Yes.
The small modular reactors.
Small modular reactors.
SMRs.
Oh my gosh. We're sitting here playing like
we are.
a card game.
We're looking at each other, looking for the words.
She's trying to figure out what I want to say. So these types of reactors, the state wants to permit them. The state's ready to go.
Yeah.
The problem is the feds are not. They don't want to permit these things. It's very, very difficult to go through the process. Are things going to change with President Trump?
And you know what, Adam? I mean, he seems to be more focused. I will say, Adam, UAMPS got further than any other. We changed national regulations on small modular reactors, so we are the tip of the spear, and we have a central government in the legislature that can move pretty quickly. So I do think you're going to keep hearing us talk about energy. I think it's worthwhile for all of us to educate ourselves a little bit more, because I think Utah can lead the nation. Before we cut on this, we're focused on the legislature. I'm going to bring another data point in. We talked earlier to Representative Burton, and who is tackling a big issue of elections. And he wanted to make sure that we knew that there was a poll by Sutherland Institute that 69% of Utahns approve of requiring ID when voting. We were talking about the issue of Utahns, by and large, have confidence in our system, like 87%, but we also want to see some reform. We want to see some IDs. We will keep addressing what the legislature is doing minute by minute, but we're going to switch a little bit in the next segment. So stay with us, because we're going to tackle our nation's capital and spend a few minutes talking about national politics.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic.
Good afternoon, 2:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Jeff Kaplan. KSL's top local story. Voters would no longer be allowed to mail in their ballots. Under a bill proposed on Capitol Hill here in Utah, Representative Jefferson Burton tells Utah's Morning News the ballots would still be mailed out so voters could fill them out at the kitchen table.
Once they make those selections and seal the envelope, this bill would then require that voters would take that envelope to a polling station, and we would begin that process 10 days prior to Election Day.
Jefferson Burton says this bill should also make election results available sooner, since the county clerks would only have to count the votes they have on hand on Election Day. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Tennessee officials say an AI system meant to detect weapons at a Nashville high school failed to spot a student's gun before yesterday's shooting. Public schools official Sean Braisted says the system didn't work because of where the shooter was and the position of the weapon.
Based on the shooter's location in proximity to the cameras, and it wasn't close enough to get an accurate read and to activate that alarm. The system was activated by police when they brandished their weapons, so there's no foolproof solutions for any of this.
One teenager died, another injured in yesterday's tragedy. Police say the gunman killed himself in the attack. Your money at this moment, after President Trump demanded lower interest rates, the Dow rose 408 points today. The S&P 500 was up 0.5%. Coming up, snow by Saturday. How much? Well, hang in there. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time 2:32.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-6161. That's 800-838-6161. 800-838-6161.
Did you know your skin is the largest organ of your body? Huh? That's why you should shower with Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash instead of plain old bar soap. Love your skin by super hydrating it with vitamin B3 and glorious notes of vanilla and shea. Did you know that my super hydrated skin is the second largest organ of my body? The first is my heart. Old Spice. Men have skin too. Old Spice Super Hydration Body Wash. 24/7 renewing moisture. With daily use.
Sometimes when our furnace stops working, it's something simple we can fix ourselves, if we only knew how. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and the next time your furnace stops working, before you call a company out to fix it, try this first. Go shut the furnace down and make sure your air filter is clean. Go around the house and make sure the vents are open and there's nothing blocking the return air. If it's been a while since you've changed the batteries in your thermostat, go ahead and do that too. Then go turn the furnace back on, and if it stays on, you're probably good. If it stops working again, you're probably going to want a technician to check it out. If you don't know one, Any Hour Services has a special offer for any homeowners listening. One of our HVAC technicians will diagnose and troubleshoot your furnace for only $29. Then they'll explain what they found and present you with repair options. And don't worry, our technicians service all brands. Call Any Hour Services and let them know you heard about this $29 troubleshooting special on the radio. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Hi, Susan. We haven't seen or heard from you.
Cold.
We would like to locate Joyce.
The mysteries that made podcast history
Cherie Warren disappeared.
are now together for free at kslpodcasts.com.
I'm Dave Cawley, the host of Cold. Join me for Season 1, The Susan Powell Case Files, Season 2, Justice for Joyce, and Season 3, The Search for Cherie. Listen anytime for free at kslpodcasts.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Imagine a currency that has true value, a currency that's local, protects your wealth, and resists inflation. Now imagine that currency is anchored to the stability of gold. Introducing Goldbacks, a currency made of 24-karat gold, accepted at over 800 businesses in Utah. Don't just imagine it. Visit alpinegold.com to start spending in gold. Use promo code RADIO to get free shipping on orders of over $200 or more.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by My Style Checking from Mountain America Credit Union. Here's Ricky Meese.
A small accident in Murray, southbound to I-15 as you're approaching the I-215 junction. It's out of traffic on the right shoulder. Also, a small crash in the final clearing stages northbound I-215's west belt prior to the 201 junction, again out of traffic on the right. Teens can get up to $200 with a Teen Learn and Earn account, plus continue earning rewards as they master the essentials of finance. More at cypresscu.com/teen. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
The KSL forecast warmer tomorrow, up to 41 degrees, but that's before the snow arrives Saturday morning, 1 to 2 inches on the valley floor. Right now, partly cloudy, 34 from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. I'm Jeff Kaplan. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. This is Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Inside Sources. Inside Sources. A new presidency, new state leaders, and a new legislative session. Utah's top political experts discuss the day's biggest stories. Only on KSL News Radio.
President Trump has gotten right to work this term is the understatement day of the day. As we sit in KSL main studio live with Adam Gardner and Mara Carabello, we have a wall full of televisions that have every possible station you could look at to make sure that as we're talking to you, we are also watching all the national news. And I'll tell you what, to his credit or his detriment, I think, Adam, while we have been on the air, we have watched a handful of ceremonial signings and executive orders live that Donald Trump has done while we are on air. Quite a few newsworthy policy pardons and other changes. It makes it hard to narrow down to just a few topics, but we're going to touch on some big ones that are in real time as President Trump gets to work faster than almost any president we've seen in the particular style of executive orders. And part of what he's doing as well is he's seating his cabinet. And someone who's been high profile is Pete Hegseth. He is the nominee of President Trump's to be the Secretary of Defense. He's been a little controversial. And Adam, this is so interesting from a head counting point of view. He did just successfully get voted to be to advance his nomination. 51 for, 49 against.
Usually, back in the day, it used to be 60 votes to get confirmed.
Right.
No longer. And the Democrats kind of changed the process to get through some judges. Republicans retaliated and said, "We're okay, fine. If you did that, we're going to do it for executive appointments." And they've kind of played this little tit for tat game every time the Senate changes hands.
That's right.
So now we have the Republicans in charge. But I want to bring up something from an article on thehill.com by Alexander Bolton with Senator Roger Wicker. He's a Republican from Mississippi. He's the chairman of the Armed Services Committee. He strongly supported Hegseth throughout the confirmation process. But here's something where I kind of take a little issue with, and I'm not saying that Hegseth is bad. I don't know if I would feel comfortable. I'm a Republican, but I don't know if I'd feel comfortable voting for him. I just think he seems a little out of his depth, even though I like the way he talks. I'm anti-woke. I'm boots on the ground.
This one's
I got
an
dust
easy
on my
one for me.
boots. But all the other stuff, like, is he prepared for what happens in the Pacific when China invades Taiwan?
Right, at 2
Are
in the
you able
morning.
to make the right moves? Are you able to play the correct chess game? I don't know if he's the guy, but these guys maybe know better than me. But one thing that Senator Wicker said, he said, the American people gave Trump a clear mandate to reform Washington. Sure, let's say that's true. And it's very close, right? We have a 1 or 2, 3 people majority in the House. We're only up by a couple of votes in the Senate. What is interesting to me is I feel like sometimes the Senate says, I know we have advice and consent, and that is a role that we have in the Constitution, but President, you have a clear mandate, so I'll give you whoever you want, no matter their qualifications or their beliefs. And there are some, like Orrin Hatch believed this. He didn't like the people that he voted to confirm a lot of times if it was from the other party.
His role was to
Yeah, but he said
facilitate.
you are voting, or if you are nominating someone, Mr. President, that is within the norms of your party, then you should be able to have who you want.
Yeah.
And Mitt Romney took that perspective, and I think John Curtis does as well. What's interesting to see, though, is how a lot of them are just saying, I don't know if I'm a fan of his, but I'll give Trump whoever we want, and he's got to be quick about it. That's not really the Senate's role. And so it's interesting to watch some of them take it very seriously, or some of them have a completely different interpretation.
And just are going to move it along. But I think we're looking at probably looking at sweeping the board. There's maybe another couple who might have a go at it, but Hegseth was among the most controversial, and he, again, has successfully made it
And he'll
out.
get confirmed.
Sure.
Don't you think, Mara, that he'll stay
No
at
doubt
51
about it.
votes?
No doubt about it. And he'll be an interesting choice, right? I mean, long career service, but no executive leadership, and he moved on to being a pundit. So he'll be an interesting choice. Let's get to move away from cabinet positions and go to a federal directive that was put out today to all public health agencies. The Trump administration looked to his departments now and said, you must cease and pause all your communications. Here's some palace intrigue. This was done largely informally. The press, notably CNN, have documented this, but it's all off the record, right? This is all an informal thing. But I have never seen this in America where, and I think that might be the theme of many things with Trump, where what he has said is, if you work in any department of health, you must have your communications approved by a Trump official before it goes on. Okay, so on one hand, I'm going to make a Trump argument that says this is an area he cares about and he wants to tighten it down. At a practical level, we get
You're
out
just too big.
hundreds of communications a day. An example is there was a MS drug that was slated to be communicated about dose usage. We get routine. We saw last week red dye number 3 was communicated that it had been eliminated. Every day health departments, FEMA, all those departments are just issuing communications about drugs we use, about how we get help on medical supplies. So you've got this is the interesting part about Trump. You've got this ideological mandate, as he suggests, that many Americans agree with, but then at this really practical level, you just have these practical bureaucrats, I'll call them, who are kind of issuing statements of everyday things. Adam, what happens when he halts communications from our Department of Health?
So I don't know. Hopefully we're going to see this as we're going to stop this for a week or two, maybe a week, until we can give you clear direction on what we expect you to release. What I hope we don't see is like some things popping up in the Federal Register That's where bureaucrats make laws.
Yeah.
And departments make laws. I would love. I mean, that I can see. Hey, nothing else is going in the Federal Register until we're approving it.
But he's not even being that specific.
No,
I mean,
he's
are
not.
we not concerned that we have been told, hey, only one source now? You know, I always get nervous when government of any kind shuts down communications.
Yeah.
Because that's the big failure of government, is communicating well. So whether it's for righteous or nefarious reasons, you always get the back of my neck tingling when I hear from any level of government, hey, we're going to communicate with you less.
Your inner conservative is coming out.
My
and
inner
I love it.
conservative is coming. I'm going to call it a libertarian.
I'll
have a libertarian inner.
I want to finish off with this because I think it's a huge deal, and I want to talk about it more in the next segment. We're going to continue with this topic, but one thing I want to tease pretty heavily, this came out from the official White House X account. And we've been watching it on the TV screens here. President Trump orders historic transparency. JFK, RFK, and MLK files to be declassified. President Trump says this is a big one. A lot of people have been waiting for this. I have to say, like, a lot of people have been saying this for years, maybe even decades. Everything is going to be revealed. So this is going to be kind of exciting. What are we going to find out? We'll find out next.
Here's something you don't want to miss. We want to let you know about Advanced Garage Door. They're a great company that Deb and I discovered.
Kyle, what sets Advanced Garage Door apart from other companies?
At Advanced Door, we're always looking for the industry-leading and highest quality garage door parts. We handle everything from repairs and installations to maintenance and emergency services. Plus, we provide a lifetime warranty on all residential doors and parts.
A lifetime warranty? That's amazing. What does it cover?
Our lifetime warranty covers labor on residential doors, parts, and services, as long as our recommendations are followed. This means our customers can enjoy peace of mind knowing their garage doors are always protected.
That's fantastic. So if someone's garage door is giving them trouble, what should they do?
Just give us a call. Our certified technicians are available 24/7 to provide prompt and reliable service. We're here to ensure your garage door is always in top shape.
For all your garage door needs, visit advanced-door.com.
Or call 801-989-DOOR. That's 801-989-3667.
Advanced Garage Door, where we sell peace of mind.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax. They know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
The Salt Lake Chamber is Utah's voice for business. Okay, that sounds great, but what does it really mean? Well, as Utah's largest and longest-standing business association, they support and champion community prosperity throughout the state. And if you're in business, well, that's a very good thing for you. Be sure to listen to the Chamber's Speaking on Business, weekdays at 7:20, 11:55, and 5:20 p.m. on KSL News Radio.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time on a fancy water bottle with ultra titanium alloy metal. You're not sure why you need all that. I mean, it just holds water. But you're getting it anyway. Because if you're hiking near an active volcano and you accidentally drop the bottle into molten lava, your water will still be icy cold. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For water bottles. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Shop can't miss deals going on now during Pro Savings Days at Lowe's. For a limited time, get a free adjustable stand when you buy a DeWalt 12-inch miter saw. That's a $229 value. Plus, save $680 on a Midea 4-piece kitchen appliance suite, now just $17.96. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Valid 113 through 124. Cannot be combined with additional discounts while supplies last. See store or Lowe's.com for more details and qualifying items.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
This January, Ogden is the epicenter of amazing RV deals during the Northern Utah RV Show, January 23rd to the 25th. Inside the Golden Spike Event Center, you'll find unbeatable pricing on new and used travel trailers starting as low as $129 per month on approved credit, and fifth wheels starting as low as $349 per month OAC. You'll also find every remaining new 2024 on clearance during the show. Plus, you can play now and pay later with no payments until April OAC. We'll also have the entire lineup of Go Play travel trailers ready to tour and take home at the lowest pricing of the year. Start shopping the biggest deals now at NorthUtahRVShow.com. On top of unbeatable pricing, every RV purchase receives a free 1-year RV Fix membership, your fast track to RV service repairs. Get in for free to Ogden's biggest new and used RV sale, the Northern Utah RV Show. 3 days only, January 23rd through the 25th, inside the Golden Spike Event Center. Sponsored by Vicious RV.
Stock numbers 81734, 87503. Based on 20% down, 8.99% APR for 180 to 240 months. Subject to prior sale. See dealer details.
Inside Sources on KSL News Radio.
We are back. Adam introduced a bombshell that was brought to bear by President Trump today, which is President Trump has signed an executive order to release more JFK, RFK, MLK assassination files. Adam, you're on it. Are you
I'm
going
so
to be
glad,
an early reader?
first of all, that all of their initials match up.
I know,
to
that's
make
nice.
this better for TV, better for radio. A legislator actually last year, early in the year, called me and said, because we exchange different books that we're reading.
Okay.
And I was kind of geeking out on a lot of books on the CIA. I was reading Lyndon B. Johnson's biography series by Robert Caro.
I loved that.
It's very good, very thorough. And then there is a podcast by Rob Reiner on the JFK assassination. And he said when he was a kid, he was obsessed with it. And so, and Soledad O'Brien.
Okay.
And for some reason, so he recommended this podcast to me. And I was like enthralled with it. I thought it was so good, and it made me crazy and kind of a conspiracy
So this
theory.
is your next chapter.
And so the fact that this is coming out, he promised to do this 10 years ago,
Right.
8 years ago, and he never did it. And so one of two things is going to happen. Either this will be the craziest, like we're going to finally find out the conspiracy that happened, or what I think is going to happen is
It'll debunk.
I think the investigation was poorly done, and it was done. The Warren Commission was done to back up theories that already were in our heads, and so that's what everyone was driving to. It was evidence to support what we all thought.
But it won't make controversies go away, right? It'll just
won't.
create
It'll
another
say,
layer.
Oh, they covered it up, and now they're releasing it, and it's just what we thought. It was another cover up. So we're not going to know. We're not going to find out. But the fact that he's releasing it, I think, is kind of cool. Like, is there a reason not to at this point? Like, these happened in the
I mean,
in the
we
early
talk
60s.
about it as a classified issue. I'm assuming if there's still some sensitive, I'm assuming somebody is going to blacken those. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's been 50 years from now. Or
If it was the
50
Soviet
years ago.
Union, who cares? Well, they're gone. If it was the mob, who cares?
Sure.
They're the bad guys. If it was
Sure.
the CIA,
Now, I will
that's
take
a big thing.
umbrage. I've been rather disciplined about my perspective of Trump today. So I feel like I will take umbrage in that I don't think this should be top of mind for a new president. I think but he's a showman. And we elected a reality TV star for the second time. And I think he is so good at showmanship. I want to bring up a big one that a lot of politicos think that this is a win-win for Trump from just a political point of view, but the inevitable happened. Trump, one of the first things he did is put out something about birthright citizenship, and the federal courts have temporarily blocked this executive order, which would have restricted birthright citizenship. As those of us who have been following know, this is a matter of the Constitution. The question there is it appears to run in contradiction with the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, and you see a judge Immediately after 18 states filed lawsuits, the next day it was
They were
ready.
We talk about governments not moving fast. They move pretty dang fast.
Yeah, they are pacing. I mean, Trump has increased the pacing. What do you think about the federal district court judges temporarily blocking Trump's birthright citizenship order?
Well, look, they only had 25 minutes of arguments, and the Judge Kokenauer, I probably pronounced that incorrectly. He was a Ronald Reagan appointee, so he's been in there.
He's been here a minute.
A little while,
He's
Mara.
been a minute. He has experience.
But he's a Republican, and he blocked it for 14 days. So this can't take effect for 14 days. So it's going to be appealed. It's going to go up to another court. When you talked about this as a win-win, it really is for Donald Trump.
From a political
From
point
a
of view.
political standpoint. He can't lose on this.
No.
Because it's in the hands of the judiciary now, and either it makes it all the way to the Supreme Court and they rule on it and they kind of take it out of his hands. He wins because he actually did something.
Now, I suddenly feel compelled to clarify my point of view. When I say it was a win-win, I'm viewing Trump from two screens in my mind. How I'm relating to him as a president, my president, but on my political agenda, as someone who didn't vote for him and he largely doesn't support my ideology. That's one frame. The other frame is he is a fascinating test of the executive branch of government. And again, from a strategic point of view, this issue of immigration, he has played this out very well, and birthright citizenship again. The win-win from a politics point of view. Okay, I'm going to take a turn because he's done something so interesting. He just signed a crypto executive order. And I want to talk about that, Adam, but I also want to talk about, I'm conflating a little. I want to talk about the other thing that happened in crypto this week is as the inauguration is going on, both Donald Trump and Melania come out with their own crypto and make millions and hundreds of millions of dollars. Now, these two things are slightly different. And also, he said from the campaign trail, he loved crypto, and you saw that alternative segment of financing just skyrocket. How are you sorting through all of this?
It is infuriating to me, to be honest with you. And keep in mind, I like a lot of the things, a lot of the policies that Donald Trump is signing on his executive orders. I think some of these things need to be challenged. I think he's going to lose on a lot of them. There's some I don't like. I'm trying to keep an open mind about everything he's doing. And this crypto stuff, he has gotten so involved in the crypto bro culture, getting them involved. They're big donors to Donald Trump. His meme coin, first of all, the whole meme coin thing just drives me nuts. I think it's completely stupid and fake. And it's controlled by bots who completely jack up the price of these coins artificially. And then all the people that were able to buy before it went public, which I think should be illegal, were able to buy before it went public. They all sell and make a ton of money once it gets really high. And then everyone else, the poors, you and me, that want to get in on this, we all lose our money.
But why have we grown tolerant for what I say? My language is, this is so blatantly using the presidency, using an office of public service to just overtly make so much money. And historically, this is not a Republican issue, not a Democratic issue. This would historically be something that the public wouldn't tolerate, having our elected officials make money of the offices that we've elected them to. This is so interesting to me because it just seems to me so very not American and not in the tradition of public service.
There was another girl who got famous for her memes, for comments she made, and she got her 15 minutes of fame and was all over the place. And she created a meme coin,
right?
And it had somewhere in the range of like $600+ million in value. And then within a few hours, tanked. Some people made a ton of money, and some people lost everything. And everyone kept accusing her. You're going to be investigated by the FCC. This is a huge deal. The SEC.
Yeah.
This is a huge deal. What you did was wrong. And she kept saying, I'm so sorry. I know I'm going to cooperate with investigators. Trump And Melania Trump did the same thing.
In conjunction with the inauguration.
They did it right before the inauguration. And will anything happen to them at all, ever?
No, we're celebrating it. If you criticize it, you're, against it. I'll also just point out, if I'm airing all my grievances today, that Trump issues it, Melania issues it, Melania.
There was a fake Ivanka one that came out too. Someone did it in her name.
Really?
And she had to come out and say,
It's
I'm not
not
dealing
me.
with this
I'm not
coin
doing
thing.
this.
This is not me. It's a problem.
It's bonkers. It's bonkers. This is one of many things. It'll be interesting to see if this is a first week phenomenon for him, if he is going to carry it longer than that. And then, Adam, I say to the Republican, it's going to be interesting as we get about the business, if we get to the business of public policy. The Republicans, by and large, during the election process, lined up behind Trump. We'll see if that continues. Thanks for joining us on Inside Sources. And tune in again tomorrow at 1 for more political analysis. Next up, Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon, 3 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Jeff Kaplan. We're at 36 degrees. KSL's top story. Lawmakers want to set clear boundaries who can stay in which dorm rooms. This all has to do with gender. KSL News Radio's Eric Cabrera now live with the details. Eric.
Jeff, the Privacy Protections in Sex-Designated Areas bill requires students living in housing divided by gender to align with their assigned sex at birth. It does, however, make exceptions for people who've undergone sex surgery or an amended birth certificate that aligns with their gender identity. This bill comes after Speaker Mike Schultz called out a transgender Utah State University RA for being a dorm mom to female students.
Make sure that the females can have their dorms, the males can have their dorms. And quite honestly, I think most universities have places for people that don't care.
In the post on X, he said lawmakers will make it clear that female spaces are for those assigned female at birth only. At the beginning of the session earlier this week, transgender rights advocates like Angel Showalter gathered at the Capitol to voice their concerns over bills that target their community.
The goal today is visibility and joy. We are not here to cause issues or aggression or anything like that. We are here showing that we exist, and no matter the laws that are passed, we are going to continue to exist.
Reporting live, Eric Cabrera, KSL News Radio.
And the Higher Education Committee is deciding how much to give to Utah colleges. What they talked about this morning at their session.
Commissioner of Higher Education Jeffrey Landward says they worked with leaders at Utah's public universities and technical colleges to come up with the budget. They asked the committee to approve a $40 million budget that includes projects to expand technical colleges, funding to create high-demand programs for engineering and computer science degrees, and money to renew cybersecurity software.
That's KSL News Radio's Verl Johansson. Ahead of the legislative session, the schools were asked to trim their budget requests by $50 million. Another bill, slated for committee hearing this afternoon, would institute new rules for labor unions representing workers in the public sector. One of those new rules prohibits a public employer from recognizing a labor organization as a bargaining agent for public employees. The Utah Education Association, the teachers, well, that's one of the groups coming out against this measure. President Trump says he's going to continue to fight for an end to birthright citizenship. Maria Chaleos is live at the KSL National News Desk.
Jeff, the president reacting after a federal judge blocked his order revoking birthright citizenship.
Obviously, we'll appeal it. They put it before a certain judge in Seattle, I guess, right? And there's no surprises with that judge.
The federal judge, a Reagan appointee, calling the order blatantly unconstitutional. Washington Attorney General Nick Brown spoke to reporters after the ruling.
We came to the courthouse today to defend the United States Constitution, to defend democracy in America, and to defend what it means to be an American citizen.
More than 22 state attorneys general are challenging the president's executive order. Meantime, President Trump doubled down on plans for controversial new trade tariffs while speaking to the global business and political leaders at the World Economic Forum in Switzerland.
If you don't make your product in America, which is your prerogative, then very simply you will have to pay a tariff.
During the virtual address, he also demanded the Fed and other countries drop interest rates. ABC's Alexis Christoforous reports that the Federal Reserve is typically insulated from political interference.
The fact of the matter is he has no power over this, right? The Fed is an independent body.
Mr. Trump often jabs at the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell and other central bank officials. Live from the KSL National News Desk, I'm Maria Chaleos, KSL News Radio.
The latest wildfire is burning in northernmost Los Angeles, but the next calamity might be moisture.
It's going to be a big switch from conditions here right now to conditions this weekend. So we're in severe red flag conditions. Several large wildfires have popped up this week. Firefighters have been able to knock them down, including a big 10,000-acre wildfire that raged on Wednesday near the town of Castaic, north of L.A. That has calmed. No homes were even damaged. But by Saturday, rain is expected to arrive and last for a couple of days. It's badly needed. That'll bring mudslide worries in recent burn areas where the ground is bare and fragile.
ABC News correspondent Alex Stone in Southern California. Meantime, Utah fire crews in California are now working their final shift. The task force will be released from their duties tomorrow. They're expected to be back in Utah Sunday. Kelly Bird with Unified Fire says the magnitude of the destruction he's seen while in L.A. is unprecedented.
It's been completely mind-boggling to see whole neighborhoods wiped out. And then in the midst of that, to see a single home that somehow survived and then everything around it completely gone.
Bird says the experience has been humbling and residents say they've been extremely grateful for the help. The Utah Division of Wildlife Resources is getting about $37 million in new federal grants. With that money, they will build new dams and reservoirs along the Price River. They're also going to get rid of invasive plants in the Green River Basin. KSL News Time 3:06. The rush hour begins. Ricky Meese is here. What's going on?
We've had a vehicle fire on the 21st South Freeway going westbound near Bangerter Highway. At one point, it had blocked a few right lanes of travel. We have backups to I-215's West Belt. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Thanks, Ricky. My Minute of News is on the way next. Stay right here.
Hello, I'm Boyd Matheson, and now a Minute of Kindness brought to you by One Kind Act a Day. Saeed Rashed Amhiri is quite an accomplished person. Not only is he a published author and world record holder, but he's an advocate for kindness. He's also just 4 years old. Saeed wrote a book called The Elephant, Saeed and the Bear, which is a tale about kindness and friendship between two different animals. Instead of fighting and trying to eat each other, the elephant and bear share a picnic and become friends. After selling over 1,000 copies of his book, Saeed was recognized by Guinness World Records as the youngest published author. Saeed has launched a program called Books from Children to Children, which helps kids create and publish books that Saeed hopes will build people's minds. He's an amazing example that you're never too young or old to make the world a positive place. Learn more about how kindness can change lives at thepowerofkind.org. That's thepowerofkind.org.
If you've ever set New Year's resolutions before, you know how difficult it is to follow through because you have to wait to see the results. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and in honor of your New Year, New You resolutions, Any Hour Services is having our New Year, New System sale. From now until the end of February, Any Hour Services will give you $2,025 off a new furnace and air conditioner. And you don't have to wait to save the money. You get $2,025 off at the time of purchase. The only thing you have to do to qualify for our New Year, New System sale is call Any Hour Services and schedule a free estimate. When you call, there's no obligation to buy. Just schedule a time to meet that works best for you. Let me say that again. From now until the end of February, when you have Any Hour Services install a new furnace and air conditioner, we'll give you $2,025 off. Call Any Hour Services right now and schedule a free estimate. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Spend your workday with a talk show that makes you feel better about the news.
Debbie is the voice of reason, and Dave reminds me of my little brother. Well-spoken, and they're a great team together.
Dave and Debbie, live from 9 to noon, or podcast the show on the app for KSL News Radio.
This is My Minute of News, brought to you by Any Hour Services, electrical, plumbing, heating, and air, anyhourservices.com. The year was 2010. and the Deepwater Horizon oil drilling platform was spewing oceans of oil into the Gulf of Mexico. It was the Gulf's worst catastrophe ever.
I was on board April the 20th of 2010. We had a lot of really good guys perish that night.
At the time, Stephen Colbert, on his fake conservative talk show, wanted to raise money for the many victims, and he remembered that the Bing search engine offered to donate $2,500 to the charity of his choice every time he mentioned the word Bing. So he went on the air and...
Bing, 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 bing.
He kept mentioning it, and bada bing, bada boom, lots of money. By the end of the show, Microsoft, which owns Bing, had to donate
$97,500. Oh, what a shame we didn't have one more Bing.
Only reason I mention any of this is what Colbert said next in 2010.
I'm proud to announce that we will be using that $100,000 to set up the Colbert Nation Gulf of America Fund. I don't think we can call it the Gulf of Mexico anymore. We broke it, we bought it.
And there is your first ever mention of the Gulf of America, which today on Google Maps remains the Gulf of Mexico. There's now a bill before Congress sponsored by Marjorie Taylor Greene to change it. We'll see if Congress approves and Google makes the change. But if not, there's always Bing. But whatever your search engine, the Gulf of America started with Stephen Colbert.
Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News, only on KSL News Radio.
We're starting with emergency traffic. We're brought to you by My Style Checking from Mountain America Credit Union. Here's Ricky Meese.
It's due to a vehicle fire westbound on the 21st South Freeway near Bangerter Highway that's been blocking right lanes of travel. It is causing stop-and-go delays. Well, in addition to the construction work zone, those stop-and-go delays are back to about 1300 West. Traffic only starting to build, but running well. Southbound I-15, Murray into Draper, all clear on I-15 in Utah County. The rest of your Salt Lake County freeways, I-215's Belt Route and I-80 all looking good. Jared?
On Bangerter Highway, those typical delays, they're starting to pop up between 21st South and 3500 South, both north and southbound directions. Now, I-15 headed into Davis and Weber County, you are crash-free and delay-free, no problems on Legacy. And if you're on I-80 going from Salt Lake City out to Tooele County, you're not going to see any problems out there. Ballet West Cinderella, live with the Ballet West Orchestra. Buy tickets today at balletwest.org. I'm Jared Auger in the KSL Traffic Center.
Well, plenty of sunshine today, but changes arrive tomorrow. Look for increasing clouds overnight and a low of 22. 41 for the high on Friday. Partly cloudy skies become mostly cloudy. Some valley haze will linger and a slight chance for a few late afternoon snow flurries. A cold front will slide into northern Utah overnight Friday into Saturday and then kind of stall out over the north. Where that band stalls, we could get 1 to 2 inches in the valleys. The mountains could get 4 to 8 inches, and then partly cloudy skies for Sunday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Kevin Eubank.
So a little more snow, 36 degrees, great weather for Yetis this weekend. And speaking of which, the Utah Yetis might or might not happen. It's probably going to go to court. The story's coming up. Stay with us.
Just as I thought it was going all right, I found out I'm wrong when I thought it was right. It's always the same, it's just a shame, that's all. I could say day and you'd say night.
Where can you kick off the new year with big savings on gig speed? Only with Xfinity. Now through January 30th, get gig internet at home for $25 a month for 1 year when you add an unlimited mobile line, which connects you with gig speed Wi-Fi on the road. Act fast today and save more than $650 over AT&T and Verizon in your first year. Plus, hurry and take advantage because right now you can also get a free 5G phone with trade-in. So save big and stay connected to what you love with fast gig speed internet and mobile from home to hotspots. This new year, it's all about gig speeds and big savings. Don't wait and get gig speed internet, spend less green, and switch to Xfinity. Go to xfinity.com/gig savings to learn more. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account restrictions apply. Equipment taxes and fees extra. $40 internet discount applied to mobile bill after promo. Regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary. Savings compared to Verizon Fiber Gig Plus 1 unlimited welcome line and AT&T Fiber Gig Plus 1 unlimited starter line. Xfinity internet required reduced speeds after 30 gigabytes of usage per line. Data thresholds and actual speeds vary.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-day kitchen and bath.
Here's another satisfied customer of 3-Day Kitchen and Bath, Anita Bennett.
When I first heard about 3-Day Kitchen and Bath, I thought, there's no way they could do a good job in 3 days. And they must carry only the plain Jane basics in cabinets, countertops,